Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello class, today I want to explain to you about listening comprehension of the TOEFL test. The first is short dialogue about expressions of agreement. Let's get started. So, what is agreement? Here's an example for you. When someone says like this to you, I think the price of the coffee in that coffee shop is expensive. And you want to reply that person with the same opinion. You feel the same way. You can say, I agree with you. This is a common expression when you are agreeing with someone. However, there are other expressions to show agreement other than I agree with you, other than this statement. Here's the first one. I'll say. You can say that again. Me too. So do I. So when someone says, I think the price of the coffee in that coffee shop is expensive, you can say, I'll say. You can say that again. Same. All of these are expressions of agreement. Expressions of agreement are common in the short dialogue, so you should become familiar with them. The following example shows agreement with a positive statement. I think that the hypothesis is indefensible. So do I. This statement shows a positive agreement. It means this woman agrees with the man. And when you hear the narrator, what does the woman mean? So you have to find from these four choices the statement that shows agreement, which is this one. She agrees with the man. Therefore, the answer is D. Here's the most important thing that you have to remember. If you hear the response like this, I agree with you, I'll say. You can say that again. Me too. So do I. Neither do I. And the last one is I don't either. That means you have to check carefully on the four choices or A, B, C, D, the expression that consists of one of these words in the answer. The same opinion, share opinion, in agreement or agree, also, too, also. So when you hear the response like this, find on A, B, C, D that consists of one of these answers. So that must be the correct answer. Okay, I'll give you an example here. On the recording you hear, I don't think that our history teacher is very interesting. Neither do I. This is a negative agreement statement, but still, this man agrees with the woman. So, you have to find the answer here on A, B, C, D, the one that consists of one of these expressions. Can you find it here? There you go. Shares the woman's opinion. Share opinion. So that's the answer. Another example here. I don't really care for the way the building was renovated. I don't either. What does the man mean? So here's an example or an expression of agreement. Then you have to find on A, B, C, D one of these words. Can you find it here? The same opinion. The same opinion. So that must be the correct answer. It's not easy. But you have to remember the expression of agreement and the answers that only consist of same opinion, share opinion, agree, or agreement, also, to, or just so. Now, the last example. I think it's time to go home. So do I. What does the woman mean? Remember, the key is this in this box, the words in this box. Can you find it? There it is, also. So that must be the answer. She also thinks it's a good idea to leave. Any questions? Now you may type the question in our group discussion and we will discuss it later. But now we will continue to the next topic. Long conversation in listening comprehension of the TOEFL test. In part B, you will hear longer conversations. After each conversation, you will hear several questions. The conversations and questions will not be repeated and will not be written on your test book. After you hear a question, read the 4 possible answers on the screen and select the best answer by clicking on it. But if it is a paper-based TOEFL, you don't click it, but you blacken the option on your answer sheet. First, anticipate the topics. As you listen to each long conversation, you should be thinking about the topics, subject, or main idea for each conversation. Since the first 1 or 2 sentences generally give the topic, you should be asking yourself what the topic is while you are listening carefully to the first part of the conversation. Second, anticipate the questions. Look at the 4 possible answers on your test book and anticipate what the question is. As you listen to each long conversation, you should be trying to set the situation in your mind. You should be thinking the following thoughts. First, who is talking? Can be between 2 students, between a lecturer, a professor with the student, or maybe an administrator, a dean, atau dekan, and so on. Second, ask about it to yourself. When does the conversation probably take place? Is it after class, before class, during the class, before the semester starts, during the semester, sometime in the semester, or even after holiday? Next, where does the conversation probably take place? Is it in a library, in a classroom, in a lab, in an office, or near the campus? What is the source of information for the conversation? It can be from the article in the magazine, newspaper, television, or even from the professor. What probably happens next? You may predict what will happen next from the information you hear at the end of the conversation. The last is listen for answers in order. I will explain number 3 later. But first, let's practice about how to determine the topic.
Listen to the following conversation about a part-time job.
I'm looking for a part-time job on campus.
Then you've come to the right place. The Campus Employment Office is here just to help students like you find jobs on campus.
I'm glad to hear that, because I really need to start earning some money.
Let me ask you some questions to help determine what kind of job would be best. First of all, how many hours a week do you want to work?
I need to work at least 10 hours a week, and I don't think I can handle more than 20 hours with all the courses I'm taking.
And when are you free to work?
All of my classes are in the morning, so I can work every weekday from noon on. And of course, I wouldn't mind working on the weekends.
I'll try to match you up with one of our on-campus student jobs. Please fill out this form with some additional information about your skills, and leave the form with me today. Then you can call me back tomorrow and maybe I'll have some news for you.
Thanks for your help.
Now, to determine the topic or the subject usually lies over here at the first or second sentences at the beginning of the conversation. So what's the topic? Yep, The topic is to find work on campus. Now, to draw a conclusion about who, what, when, and where. Let's practice it.
Listen to the beginning of Conversation 3 and try to imagine the situation.
Did you read the article that the professor assigned for tomorrow's class? It was really interesting.
No, not yet. What was it about?
It was about pollution, specifically one kind of pollution called acid rain.
Number 1. Who is probably talking?
Can you tell? Between man and this woman. Did you read the article that the professor assigned for tomorrow's class? So it means these two persons, these two people, are students or classmates. When does the conversation take place? It is not mentioned clearly here, but you can guess it is sometime during the semester. It can be at the beginning of the semester, in the middle, or almost the end of the semester. And the last one, what is the source of the information? An article that the man read. From here, did you read the article that the professor assigned for tomorrow's class? So, the source of the information is the article right here. So that's how to draw conclusions about who, what, when, and where. Now about listen for answers in order. There are two possible methods to use while you listen to a long conversation. Or you can follow along with the answers while you listen. The answers in listening part B are generally found in order in the conversation. This means that as you listen to the conversation, you should be thinking about the answers to the questions in the order that they are listed in the textbook. Here's an example. You will hear a conversation like this, and before the narrator gives you the question like this, you can guess by reading in your textbook like this, and it is put in order, checking account. And then for number 2, focus on the conversation where you can hear one of these words in the options. You see here, identification is put on number 2. So it will not be given to you in random numbers, but usually in order atau berurutan. So number 1 right here, number 2 right here, and number 3 below, somewhere around here. So in number 2, what does the woman need for her to show him is a piece of or some identification. So that's it. Thank you very much. If you have questions, please feel free to ask me. Goodbye.